Okay. So, starting now to talk about trigonometry. Yay! So, here in chapter 2, we're going to start by talking about angles as opposed to angels. We might talk about that later during the day in your religion class. That's a spelling joke, because angles and angels get misspelled or switched around every once in a while. So, in your geometry class, many moons ago, when you guys talked about angles, you talked about measuring them primarily using what unit of measurement? Degrees, right? You may or may not have been introduced into a second unit of measurement. If you haven't, that's okay, because we're going to define it and talk about it right now. But some of you probably have and might have remembered that second unit of measurement for measuring angles, which was the radian. Good. So let's just start by defining what we mean by a radian. Yes. We did this part. Where do we get to? The conversion factor? Oh, sweet. Never mind. Thank you for not wasting our time doing it again, right? So, in fact, here's my note that says where I left off the fifth hour as I turn the page. All right, well, let's just do an example here. Since that we recall that pi radians is equal to 180 degrees, right? That's what we ended with last time. So if we want to convert 152 degrees to radians, how would we do something like that? Well, the way I'm going to set this up is I'm going to kind of set this up like a unit conversion problem, like you would do in your science class or your chemistry class. A lot of us have had chemistry or are currently taking a chemistry class, so this hopefully will look a little bit familiar. So I have 152 degrees, and I'm going to multiply it by a ratio. The ratio that I'm going to want is involving this conversion factor. Which part of the conversion should go on the denominator of that ratio? The degrees, right? That my units have to match up diagonally, so I know the 180 degrees needs to be on the denominator. And then the pi radians should be in the numerator, right? Now, if I multiply these together, I'm going to get some value. Let's do this on our calculator a couple of different ways here. So I'm going to do 152 times alpha n over d pi over 180. So I get 265.3 radians, about 2.653 radians. But oftentimes in trigonometry, we would want to write this answer in terms of some fraction of pi. That's often quite desirable for us. In mathematics, we often prefer the exact answer to the rounded answer. So let's just kind of show you a little bit the quick way to use our calculator to do this. Sound good? So alternatively, this would just be 152 over 180 pi, and we'd be stuck trying to reduce that fraction, right? Well, the calculator can do that for us quite quickly. If I do 152 divided by 180, and I press the math button and choose the fraction command, it'll give that as 38 over 45. So you can just write that as 38 pi over 45. If the directions don't stipulate the form that we're looking for, either would be appropriate. Although if we're asking for an exact answer, this is what I'd expect to get. So an exact means that you haven't rounded anything anywhere. Is everybody okay with that idea? Okay. And to go the other way, suppose we want to convert 2 pi over 5 radians to degrees. So just like before, except this time I have pi's in the numerator, so my pi needs to be in the denominator. So when we do this, the pi's cancel out, and I just have 2/5 times 180, or 72 degrees. Everybody okay there? Okay. Oh, it's time to go, guys. That was fully on me for not watching the clock.